Now this morning it's absolutely freezing out here. I just can't wait to get the hell in the house. But I wanted to bring this in. It's been drying in the garage overnight. It is absolutely beautiful. All the work that I put into this is now, I looked at it carefully. It just couldn't be nicer. And very soon we're going to have to turn that wheel. Another labor of love. But every one of these restorations is truly a labor of love. And I wonder, well, I wonder many times how many hours I have the total for the whole fleet here. Oh my God. Unbelievable. Well, but at least come summer I'll get to ride these bikes. Well, that's certainly making my breakfast feel better. Holy mackerel. That wheel, I wish you could see it in real life. It really does have a nice glow to it, a nice look. I think that's just going to become one of the focal points of this whole project. I'm feeding my birds this morning and I notice I'm almost out of seeds. Boy, there's a fate worse than death. They demand 1 cup of seeds in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. I'll be absolutely positive to buy another bag of seeds, another 50-pound bag of seeds for you guys. So look what showed up today. Treezilla 2 is being taken down or something here. I don't know. Bill is Treezilla. Here's our first Treezilla. And I guess they got Treezilla in the back. You never know what kind of Treezilla stuff's going on in my neighborhood. So this morning while I'm having my coffee, it's too cold to ride of course, but I'm envious of Dallas out there in Sacramento riding his GS. But then, you know, you get bored riding a GS once in a while, so then you just go over to the other screen. Now that I have 2 TVs in my shop, I can ride 2 bikes at the same time. I'm not so happy with this one. I want the more comfortable GS. Yeah, the GS is a little more comfortable. But this one makes a little bit more noise going around the corners. Oh, I'm telling you, John Pothier hit a home run with this double computer screen. And we're going to be using very soon, you'll see some changes to the video editing, because we now have the latest Filmora. And I haven't even learned how to use it yet, but we're going to work on it. More fun, more bikes, and the main thing, more coffee. So as I look at the wheel drying up, and I've sent some pictures out to certain people that I respect their artistic opinion, and it looks like there's going to be, well, it's a no-hitter so far. Goldfinger has been very popular, so far anyway. Now of course the next thing on this, it's going to dry at least 3, 4, 5 days before I even try to put the tire on, put the tire valve. And I'm not sure I'm going to keep the gold valves or get black ones or what. There's a lot of choices I have. But boy, seeing that down by the heating vent, I don't even want to backmask it. I pull a backmask yet, because I may want to. There may be a spot I'll find if well, I don't know. I have looked thoroughly and I haven't found a spot that needs a repair yet. And that's unusual, by the way. So I have a special treat today. Karen asked me last night, would I please install a microwave oven, a new microwave? And Turbo Steve graciously offered to come over and be my extra set of hands. And as I know, he's a pretty reliable guy. And I'm not sure what else, if he's going to bring something over, but we should have an interesting day. But you don't know where this day is going? Well, I do know where it's going. I got 2 TVs riding 2 separate bikes. I just love that. Maybe while Steve's over here, I can get him to change some tires for me. Anyway, we're just getting ready to. I'm waiting for Steve to come over so we can do that microwave oven. Let him check this out, and I'm sure he'll complain. He'll say something's wrong with it, but that's why we love him. So it's time to just pull that old puppy out after 15 years. Wow. Now getting that old microwave out by myself was quite a job. I didn't think they were that heavy. The new one seems a little lighter. But look at what we have on the wall. Now we renovated the kitchen. Wendy and Karen, so in love. In 07 we did this. 07, 19. Wow. Who knew we'd live this long? Now you know for sure, the same people that design motorcycles all over the world, Every brand. They design microwaves. But look, they can't use the same holes as the other. I got to drill all new holes. And you think these birds would come and help me? They're busy eating, and I'm here drilling holes all by myself. They just can't make a template that every one is exactly the same. Unbelievable. So it's just like anything else. Drilling the holes, I'm going to drill one hole, put the bolt in, and push this over and drill the other hole. Try to get this right on the first shot. Highly unlikely. That is, I'm telling you, there's already holes in here. You think I could use the old holes. Unbelievable. I'm sure there's some engineer figuring this out. Oh, let's make them drill new holes in the cabinets. Let's not use the old holes.
Uranium.
Yeah, this is the heavy side, so I guess that's good. That's your side.
Uranium.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That is a bear. I don't know how heavy it is, but it was a bitch getting it down by myself. So this was my idea. Karen said, if you scratch my stove, I'm going to use you for a knife rack. So I decided to get all my towels, my workshop towels, and I made a thing so just in case I dropped the microwave when I took it down. But
you want to take this down to give us a little more room?
Nah, you won't need it. I got the old one down without that, so. Can't make this up. As we're putting the microwave in, one of us turned the stove. It's on my side too. And we set the house on fire. We set the the stove is red. Oh, there's the there. Oh man, it's all.
There's your washer.
There's the oh, look at there's my sacred blankets. Oh my God. Steve burned the house down.
Well, we got the microwave installed.
Phew, does it stay? Oh my God.
You didn't say don't burn the house down. You said install the microwave.
The microwave's installed, but the house is on. Oh, good thing Karen isn't here.
Mission accomplished.
Karen would die. Karen would die. Good thing she just went to art class. Here, I'm going to put this in back.
That's art. You can hang that in a
Yeah, I'm going to make it as if nothing ever happened to you. Just put that back. I don't know. Steve did it. Now maybe we can make a thing for a motorcycle out of this. We could put throw it outside. It's still smoking. No wonder it stinks in here. Throw it out on a porch. And by the way, the old thing is right outside in the garbage. Oh my God, I got some air. The old microwave is out in the garden. We got to put a bag around it or the men won't take it. And they did Treezilla. They did two Treezilla jobs today. All the dead branches are gone. Wow. So now that we have the house fire out, we can't figure out how to get the filters into this thing. There's 3 filters.
No, just like that.
It fits right in? The man is a genius. If you need help with your microwave,
you gotta put them in and then
microwave Steve. This has turned out to be an adventure. Now, if we could have got Jose to show up. So the great microwave fire adventure ends. But what'll make it worthwhile? That cup of coffee. Oh my God. Well, if you could only smell what that smelled like with that towel cooking on the stove. It really wasn't a towel. Her cutting board melted. Ah, disgusting. So this day ended. The microwave's installed. All the smell is out of the house. Karen's the happiest girl on the planet. And anytime I want to warm up a cup of coffee, I have a brand new microwave. Thank you, Turbo Steve. Now the next step on our project is going to be, I'm going to try to do the restoration on our carrier, the SPROCKET carrier. It's a relatively straightforward thing. I have to take it apart. I want to take the nuts off, polish them, clean this corrosion that's on there, and I'm not sure what is going to be the right way to do that yet. Yeah, it looks like it comes right off with a razor. And we'll see if we can wire brush that off maybe. Polish up the rivets, that would be one thing. And then this carrier, I call it the carrier, which I've done on all the other motorcycles. This carrier, I want to have it painted. I don't want to have it, well, let's be honest about that. I don't want anything flat black. Now, whenever I've done a restoration, I've always thought doing that carrier was a small detail. And you always think, when you do these small details, you always think, oh, nobody will notice that. Well, one day we were up at Perry's, and Big Jim was talking to, I don't know, Pokey or somebody, and said, boy, Wendy's bikes, one thing I like about Wendy's bikes, he takes care of all the details. Now, I didn't coax him to say that, but he's right. I do take care of the details. And the details, even a small detail like that, in the overall presentation of the bike, I think it's significant. And why would you take the whole bike apart and then skip over some little step that only is going to take an hour? And even all the little details on the RD, even that little rod down there that holds the brake shoe, just every little possible thing you can polish. If you're going to do a restoration, I always think it's worth taking the time to do it right. And because we got this bike, well, we got it stripped down to this point, it would be crazy to just leave that part flat black. There's no reason to leave it flat black. And I always think when I see somebody's bike, especially if they've done work on it, and they have, in essence, taken care of it or restored it, when you see a bike with a rusty chain, to me it's the equivalent thing of having dirty underwear. It's just one thing. You think you could wipe the chain off, the sprocket, the disc, and in 5 minutes the bike looks like you care instead of like you don't care. All details, little baby details. And every one of these bikes has 1,000 little details, 1,000 little things that are, you don't even notice them until you look real close, and they'll say, ooh, that's polished, ooh, that's clean, ooh, that's nice. No, the chain isn't all rusty. One thing at a time, even the smallest detail at some point in time, and that would be a good thing to remember. The saying I always like, there's a poem that ends with, the gods see everywhere. So step one when we work on this, in here, of course, there's a bearing, and there's a seal that goes in here. It presses, so I want to be very careful about backmasking that off when I work on this. But it would be easier if I just take it and pull the sprocket off. It'll just make it easier. Well, I'm going to paint it anyway. But all of this stuff that's not getting painted, I want to do a real careful backmasking job on. Now, because all these bolts have some corrosion on them, 11 years, 10 years, and I think we could use one. Anyway, this will come right out. I'll get the bolts off of here. Might help if you use the right end of the wrench. Anyway, it's all about the details. And when you skip over details, you think nobody's going to notice. Everybody notices. Now, a lot of times when you see things, you think of, not that bad. Oh, that's good. Yeah, look at that. But in reality, the reality check is, a lot of times underneath everything is corroded. Now, if you look close here, the sprocket, this is not a brand new sprocket, that's for sure. But it's got a lot of corrosion here. Even though these parts are anodized, corrosion, there's some corrosion here we want to clean up. The main thing is the nuts. The nuts are totally, well, corroded would not be the right word, but we could refresh them and make them better than new. You can see here what some of the corrosion and some of that, the rust, because the nuts are steel. And this is what gets to me is, of course, you don't really see it because there's usually grease and oil up there, but we can clean that up a little bit, make that a little bit nicer. And even the other side. And that's the whole idea of, at least when I restore something, I would like it to be better than if I just went to Motorcycle Mall and bought a brand new one of these bikes. Well, yeah, there'd be a lot of things that'd be better. It wouldn't have mileage and stuff on it, but all these little polished areas and detailed areas, I'd be back to having flat black parts. You take a simple thing like the nuts, and these are just the way they came off. And you think from far away, you think, oh, they don't look too bad. Yeah, but, you know, to me, I always look at them and I say, you know, do I really want that on my restored motorcycle? But when I'm done with it, it'll be better than if I went and bought brand new nuts, because the new nuts would not be polished. In fact, when this came from the factory, the nuts were just, they look like, well, they're plated, but whatever, not polished. So all these little details, to me, add up. No matter what you're doing, the detail, look at that. I look like 6 bullets in the gun here. Anyway, every little detail pays in my estimation of it. Now I always make that decision. Which one of these nuts would I rather have on my bike? I don't know. And it's a small detail. It takes minutes, just minutes, to turn something that's really mediocre into something that I think is really nice. But it's 1,000 of these little details, all during the restoration process. All right, that makes quite a nice little difference. Just a few minutes at the buffing wheel. And we've got one more little detail. I think that's just going to make a nice little change in the overall motorcycle. Now our sprocket for sure needs a little bit of cleaning and detailing, and since these are about a little under $100, and for all purposes I can see, they last forever. They're really a long time. I've had some of these 4 or 5 years already on bikes that once I do the restoration, I want it to stay nice. And every little thing, I don't mind doing it once, but I don't want to have to do it over and over and over again. Now this little corrosion, it looks like, and I'm trying to figure out if this is going to take it off. I don't know if I'm going to have to use prep wall, but for sure, always the first step is good old simple green. That'll get 90% of it off. I don't know how much the rest of it we're going to get off. But now, especially because we have this bike gold, the black and gold, I'd like this to be a, that should add a little dimension to it, a little bit of something nice anyway. But always the first step, simple green, as much of the loose crap off as you can. And maybe we'll have to take this over to the soft wire wheel, not the heavy one, and see if we can get some of that. I don't know what that is. It's like corrosion, I guess. I'm not sure. But we'll get it off, that's for sure. Now, a lot of this just came off with the simple green and the prep wall. I ran this on the soft wire wheel. It's brass, actually. It's not steel. That took some off, but little by little, I want to get it down to where it's as nice as I can make it, and then we'll move on to the next part. But every one of these parts, once you have it apart, it's easy to do all this detailing. When the bike is all assembled in one piece, a lot of these things are impossible to get your fingers around or get your hands around or anything. So ultimately that cleaned up pretty nice. So what I did, I just took a paper towel and some WD-40 to rub around, because this is steel, of course, so that in the time it's sitting in the cellar here, it will not build up any corrosion at all. Now that cleaned up nice. So in this little amount of time that we've spent, we've got that pretty well, I call it, ready to put back on a motorcycle. Well, we're going to, after we paint the carrier, of course we're going to reassemble it, and it'll be ready to put back on a motorcycle. So step one, as it always is degrease everything. Get that coat of grease off, simple green. Now what I can do here is, the way this is going to work out, I need to backmast these studs and a little bit of the area around it, or I have two choices, or else I can scrape that paint off. Nah, I don't want to do that, because I have a little mark on there, how much that covers. I'd like that to be the part that you see through the sprocket. I would like to have that shiny black, so that's going to be a little bit of a challenge in the backmasking department. But again, every one of these details, there is no detail here. In fact, here I can take probably a tip, maybe somebody can use, you holding that and get, because the pliers are smaller than your fingers, you can get down into the black hole in space there sometimes. Anyway, getting the part thoroughly degreased, and then we'll have to just sand it lightly and get a coat of primer on it, and see how the day is playing out here, because we have, this time of year, very unpredictable days, and I wouldn't want it any other way. Yeah, that's going to clean up. It's just going to take several times, and then some prep wall, and they'll be ready to backmask. And back here we need to clean this up, because there's a seal that goes on that, so I don't want that exposed. I don't want that exposed to paint dust. Now this is a little trick I use, is I just pour some prep wall down there, because that's where you really can't get down, and that's where the paint is really not going to want to stick. And then I can take one of my paper towels get right down in there, or even this, and I'm just trying to show typical ways you can get in there, because your fingers really don't fit, at least my fingers don't fit. And let that all loosen up. The cleaner I can get this before I backmask it, of course, the better. It turned out to be not a terrible painting day. I was hoping it would just be above freezing, and it looks like it's there already, so lucky me. We can get this painted today. I'll be very, very happy. All these little details, every time I do one more little detail, I always think, yeah, I'm one step closer to having the bike I really want to have for the rest of my life. The idea here is to get everything etched, and we don't need to go crazy here, but get any rough, the little casting spots off that I can. And just leave that nice etch on everything. That should give it just about the right enough of an etch. Now I'm going to use the primer on this that I would put over raw metal. This is self-etching primer. Self-etching primer. Now that's going to have to dry a good, at least an hour. And maybe we're getting too late in the day here to even paint today. I don't know. It looks like we're coming up on the end of the day, and it's already getting cloudy. So I never want to rush things. Now sadly I wasn't keeping track of the time, and it's time to go get Miles. But as always, we try to end the day on a positive note. I'll put this up by the heating vent to dry overnight, and it's always tempting on any of these projects to just rush through it and get that on. But you know, when you know you're running out of time, it's good just to back off. Tomorrow we'll get the black on this. We'll get the clear. In fact, we got some other parts. I forgot. We got a couple other parts. And while this is drying, we could be polishing up some parts. We got all the axle parts and everything. So planning out a productive day and then executing it, very rewarding. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoy installing your next microwave too, and don't set the house on fire. And thanks for watching.